Hi everybody, Dan Illman here, taking a look at race number 9 at Woodbine on a really nice Saturday afternoon card up in Toronto. This is the Grade 3 $150,000 Dominion Day Stakes. We're going 1 1/8 on the Tapeta surface. Before we take a look at the entry card, here in the States, it's 4th of July week coming up, and shop.drf.com has a big 4th of July sale. Huge savings on past performances, clock reports, picks, and lots more. Head on over to shop.drf.com for more details. Here's the field for the Grade 3 Dominion Day, and it was a breakout performance last time out for our 2-to-1 morning line favorite, the number 6 Treason, who showed the ability to rate and finish. And that was the key going into the race, because Treason had been speed crazy in some of his prior starts. Treason rated beautifully, and he made several of these horses pay. And he's a horse that's earned some very fast figures and has shown a lot of ability throughout his career. He's the horse to beat for trainer Josie Carroll. And according to the Timeform US Pace Projector, Treason could also be the horse to catch. Now, note the red bar indicating that Timeform US believes this pace could be fast. Treason did show the ability to sit and finish last time out, so if a horse like the number 1 War Bomber decides to go to the lead, maybe he'll be able to sit and finish again. War Bomber should show speed from the inside in his second start of the form cycle. Tyson is more of a positional type. I think Treason, if he breaks well and is really eager, I think Kazushi Kimura will do the right thing and let him go. We'll start with the number 1 War Bomber, who's 20-to-1 on the morning line, but this horse does have some credentials. He has won at 1 1/8. He won the Grade 3 Seagram Cup last summer at Woodbine over the Tapeta surface, and he was second in the Autumn Stakes 3 starts back, going 1 1/16. Now, he's only run once this year, and that was in the Eclipse against Treason, and he showed fresh early speed down on the inside. He was pressured by 2 other horses. The odds-on favorite right to his outside, Treason 3 wide, and War Bomber just couldn't stay with those horses in his first start off the layoff. Is he good enough to win this race? We're going to find out, because I have a feeling he's going to be sharp and ready to go in his second start of the form cycle, and he might not have as much pressure in the early portion of this race. I think he's either going to go to the front or sit just in second, and he should be in the thick of things at a big price turning into the stretch. The number 2 is Artie's Storm, and he's been around for a long time. He was second in the Dominion Day last year. He was third in the Steady Growth Stakes 2 starts back. He's earned some big figures in his career. A 100 buyer in the Durham Cup 4 starts back. Now, he ran in the Eclipse in his first start off the layoff, and he sort of fell behind in the early portion of that race. I liked the way he finished up. I think that was a really good prep race for Artie's Storm, and the fast-paced designation on the Timeform US Pace Projector could play to this horse's strengths, because while he's not really a true closer, he can sit in mid-pack, and if the speeds burn themselves out, Artie's Storm could be in a very good position to directly benefit. The number 3 is Gaston, and we're going to watch Gaston, sort of a new face into the graded stakes ranks here. This horse scored last time out in his first start off a 5.5-month layoff. It's an allowance race, and he got a good pace to attack, but I like the way he made the lead in the stretch. While his buyer's speed figure was only an 85, it's worth noting that the 6th place finisher of this race came back to improve, finishing second in the subsequent start with an 86 buyer in an allowance on turf. I think there's more in the tank for Gaston, and he's another horse with the proper running style in this race. He will have to deal with a hike in class. The number 4 is Tyson, going out for Josie Carroll, beautifully bred son of Tappet. He won his first 2 starts, and then he ran third in the Eclipse last time out, his first time in stakes company, and he was sort of down inside, waiting in behind horses. He was actually running on at the end of that race. I thought it was a good and useful performance for Tyson. I love this horse's upside potential. I think his pedigree is going to be no problem for 1 1/8, and he has tactical speed. He was up close to the pace in his first 2 races, a little bit further behind last time. I think he settles into the second flight here, and he's a very good price on the morning line with Rafael Hernandez aboard. Golden Glider is up next. This horse did some very nice things in the United States as a 3-year-old without winning. He was second in the Peter Pan, he ran in the Bluegrass, in the Tampa Bay Derby, in the Belmont Stakes, but he's 2 for 2 on synthetic and really seems to like the all-weather. Here's his most recent start. His final start as a 3-year-old. This is the Tropical Park Derby on Gulfstream's Tapeta surface, and this horse He fell far, far behind in the early part of this race. He was fortunate to get a fast pace, and he comes running to just get up on the wire. This race did produce a couple of next out winners. Now, Golden Glider is going to run in this race fresh, off about a 6-month layoff, and that's somewhat worrisome, even for a great trainer like Mark Casse. Distance won't be a problem for Golden Glider. The question is, will he be fit enough? He should get some pace. He should be running late. Treason is the number 6, and he's likely the horse to beat. The question is, was last time the time? A lot of folks were questioning whether he could rate and finish. As we see, he did. He sat third in the early portion of the race. Kimura pushed the button at the 5/16. He made the lead, and despite failing to change leads in the stretch, he beats 4 of these foes with a 99 Beyer speed figure. That figure is not an aberration. He earned a 101 Beyer speed figure 3 starts back, and he just seems to really like life on the synthetic surface. Now we'll have to stretch out another 1/16 of a mile, but he's going to be close to the pace, and it just looks like this horse has a world of ability and has turned the corner since moving to the synthetic surface and switching to the Josie Carroll barn. We just saw Carruthers finish a dogged second to Treason in the Eclipse. That was a really nice performance for a horse that is gotten good over the all-weather surface. He's 7 for 12 lifetime on synthetic. He tried his best in the Eclipse. When Treason made his winning move, Carruthers was sort of taken by shock a bit. He couldn't keep up, and then he sort of was grinding along in the end, trying to drift in just a little bit in the final 1/16 of a mile. But it was another good performance. He's very honest. He's versatile from a running style standpoint, and he wouldn't be surprised. 4-1 on the morning line, Declan Carroll named to ride. Duke of Love has credentials. This horse won the second Jewel of Canada's Triple Crown last year. The Prince of Wales, although that race was contested over a muddy dirt track. He is graded stakes place on synthetic, and he likely gained a lot of fitness from his seasonal debut, an allowance race on May the 7th, a race where there wasn't a lot of pace and he was sort of held up and then was just in behind horses. I don't really think he had a chance to strut his stuff. The third place finisher from that race came back to run third in an allowance with an 85 Beyer speed figure. Duke of Love has credentials. Distance isn't going to be an issue, and he's a horse with the tactical speed where he can get out of the gate under Luis Contreras and maybe sit in the second flight. Moving on to the number 9, Novo Soul. We'll watch his last race down at Gulfstream Park on the synthetic surface, and he got a very good pace in this race. They were zipping along, 23-1 for the opening quarter, 23 flat for the second quarter. This left the pace setters gasping, and Novo Soul, as the favorite, took advantage to win for trainer Safi Joseph with a 94 Beyer speed figure. This guy's always been solid on turf over the synthetic surface, and he is another one that would benefit from a fast pace up front. To me, 3-1 on the morning line might be a little bit light on Novo Soul, but the folks go overboard on Treason. Maybe Novo Soul becomes playable. Treason is the horse to beat, but as we take a look at my selection, I'm going to try to find value with the 1 War Bomber. If you don't think he's good enough to win, maybe you could throw him underneath in single race exotics. Distance isn't an issue. He is already a graded stakes winner, and I really think he needed that last race, his first start off of the long layoff. So I'm going to give War Bomber a chance to potentially upset Treason in the Grade 3 Dominion Day. It's a great Saturday card at Woodbine. Best of luck.